Yo, what's up YouTube? I'm DJ Philly and welcome to Master Crafters. Today, we're actually going to be showing you guys a guide to all of the dyes in Minecraft. And as you can see here, we actually separated them into three categories. We have the primary, the dual primary, and the secondary. Now we'll be going over each and one of them once we get to the categories here. And as you can see, we will tell you how you can get these dyes either by crafting them or by using different flowers or different items in the game. So we'll be going over all of that, so let's get started. Now first up in the primary category, we have the black dye. And the black dye is crafted by either a wither rose, which you can get from killing mobs with a wither. We have a full tutorial on that, and we'll link it in the description for you guys if you need it. And you can also craft it using ink sacs, which you get by killing squids. So this actually has two items like some of the others that we have. Then we have the blue dye, which can be crafted by getting cornflowers, or you can craft them using lapis lazuli that you find down in the mines. Now, if you're wondering how to get these flowers and where to get them, we'll be showing you a guide in the end of the video, and I'll hopefully remember to put a timestamp for you guys, so you can go check that out. Next up, we got the brown dye, and this is basically only crafted using cocoa beans, which can be found in jungle biomes, usually on like jungle trees. So that would be how you get the brown dye. Then we have the green dye, which you can only get from cacti, which can usually be found in desert biomes. The red dye is next, and they can be crafted using poppies and or rose bushes, red tulips, and surprisingly, you can also use beetroots when crafting red dye. Then we have the white dye, which you can use the lily of the valley, and then bone meal, which you can get by crafting from bones, usually from skeletons. And lastly, we have the yellow dye, which you can use by using a dandelion or a sunflower. The next category that we have is dual primary, and you may have heard it called quasi-primary, but I just called it dual because that's easier to remember. And basically, what this means is that all 6 of these dyes can be crafted using items in the game or can be crafted by other dyes. So first up in this category, we have the light blue dye, and basically you can get them either from blue orchids, or you can actually use the dyes that you previously had in the primary category. You can use blue dye and white dye to craft light blue dye, and alternatively you can use lapis lazuli and bone meal to craft it. Now you can also mix and match these two, so you can have blue and bone meal, or you can have white and lapis lazuli. All you will need is a blue and a white to create light blue dye. Then we have the light gray dye, which can be crafted using azure bluettes, or oxydaisies, or white tulips. Now alternatively, you can use white dyes and gray dyes. You can use bone meal and gray dyes, and then you can also use 2 white dyes and black dye, or bone meal, 2 bone meal, and a ink sac. And these two can be mixed and matched, but you will need a white and a black. Then we have the lime dye, which can be crafted using sea pickles that can be found in oceans. And then we also have the green dye plus white dye, or the green dye plus bone meal options. Then we have the magnetic dye, which actually has a bunch of crafting features, and we ran out of space, so we used a second box here. So first we have the allium, and then we also can use lilacs, but there are a bunch of dye features. You can use purple plus pink, or you can use red, blue, and pink, and you can also exchange the blue with lapis lazuli. And then you can also use 2 red dye, blue dye, and you can exchange this with lapis, and white dye, and this can also be exchanged with bone meal, and you'll get the magenta dye. Then we have the orange dye here, which can be crafted using an orange tulip, or by using a red dye plus a yellow dye. And lastly but not least, we have the pink dye here, which can be used by crafting it with pink tulips or peonies. And then we also have the crafting features of red dye and white dye, and obviously you can exchange this with bone meal to get the pink dye. And the last category that we have is the secondary category, and this basically means that you cannot actually craft it with any of the items in Minecraft. You will need some sort of dye to get these three. So first up, we got the cyan dye, which can be crafted using green dye, and blue dye, which can also be exchanged with lapis to get the cyan dye. And we have the gray dye here, which can be used by black dye and white dye. You can also exchange them with bone meal and ink sacs. And then lastly, we have the purple dye here, and this can be used by crafting it with red dye and blue dye, and you can exchange it with lapis to get the purple dye. Now, I know what you're probably thinking is that we did not actually go over how to get the flowers here, and we're actually going to do that now. We're going to head over to the Minecraft wiki to show you guys a little guide, and I'll link it in the description for you guys so you can follow me as we go along. Okay, so we are actually on the flower page here of the Minecraft wiki under the flower biomes, and as you can see, we have what biomes you can find each and every one of these flowers in. So you probably do want to know what flower you want to get and what dye you want. That way you'll know what biome. And as you can see, we have this awesome graph provided by the wiki, and it will actually tell you what biomes that you can find each and every of these flowers in. So we got the plains, sunflower plains, swamp, and all of these other good biomes. Now you may see some of these yellow text here, and some of them can only be used with bone meal, and some of them can only be used with Bedrock Edition only. And then we also have the generation tag, and this basically means that they will generate in the biome, but you cannot use bone meal to recraft them. They will only generate once in that specific biome. So once you get the biome that you are looking for via which of the flowers that you want, we will actually be going over to another website. I'll link it in the description for you guys to find the biome in your seed. Okay, so now we are on Chunkbase's website here, and they actually have an awesome biome area finder, so you can use this to find the biome that you want. But first of all, you do want this here tag to be on the Bedrock edition. If not, then all of this map may be a little different because all of the seeds can be different depending on Java edition, Bedrock edition, and Legacy Console edition. So you do want this on Bedrock edition, and then also you do want to put the seed in your world. It's basically will be under the settings in your world settings. So I will put the Astra SMP seed, which is final in all caps, and we will click the find biomes, and this will generate all the biomes. Now you can use your scrolling wheel on your mouse to zoom out, and basically we can see all of the biomes in the nearby location. It will also provide coordinates for us on the x-axis and the z-axis. But if you are looking for a specific biome, you can actually filter them right under here. So you can go click this here and then pick the biome that you want. So I will just pick the savanna, and then it will tell you the specific location of all the savannas and the nearby seed area. So as you can see, we have a bunch of savannas, and then we'll actually tell you in the coordinates. If you look on the bottom right of my screen, it will tell you the coordinates of the chunks that you're putting your mouse on. So this is very helpful to find the biomes that you want using the guide that we found on Minecraft Wiki. So basically, you find the flower, then you find the biome that you want, then you go to Chunkbase, and you can find the biome. Now, obviously, you don't have to use Chunkbase. You can also just go out and wander the Minecraft world on your own and try to find the Minecraft biome that you're looking for. But this is an easier option that you guys can use. Okay, so I think that about wraps it all up on how to get the dyes, but I haven't really covered on what you can use the dyes for. So you can actually use them for banners, and you could put cool combinations of colors and design using the loom here. So you can put in your dye right here in the loom, and you can actually craft really cool banners. Now you can also use a cauldron here, and if you place a cauldron and a water bucket in like so, so that way it's filled with water, then you can actually use some of the dyes here and dye the water, and you can actually use two different dyes to dye the water different colors. And this is actually pretty useful because then you can dye all of the leather armor like that just by right clicking it, and as you can see, our leather armor is dyed, and you can use it for any of the leather armor here. And basically this is a really cool option if you do want colored armor. That way you can just show off to your friends, hey, I'm cool. But if you don't want to show off to your friends, because I mean, it's leather armor, it's not that good in regular survival, you can actually use them on armor stands and craft little people with the armor stands. I think this is a really cool idea, and you can use the armor stands to just populate your worlds and have a little fun. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our guide to dyes. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, we have our social media down in the description below, as well as our link to our Twitch page, which we have now been streaming our different servers, so you can find that in the description below. And if you do like this video, please give it a like. If you do really like our videos, maybe consider subscribing because that helps our channel out a lot. So thank you guys, and have an awesome rest of your day.